Hello Cowboys Nation, welcome to another video, and without further ado, let's get to another round of news from America's team. Cowboys Trey Lance a trade option for hard-hit AFC contender. While the major contract extension handed out to Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott, a deal in which Prescott basically got everything he'd wanted from the team, was the big news of the week from the Star, and well, it should have been. One of the subplots to that story is the future of the rest of the Cowboys' quarterback depth chart. Namely, Trey Lance. After all, Lance was brought in last August. The Cowboys forked over a fourth-round pick to the 49ers, as a kind of ballast in negotiations with Prescott, who had been coming off a poor 2022 season and had much to prove in 2023. He did. Prescott led the NFL in passing yards, led the Cowboys to a 12-5 record, and was the runner-up in NFL MVP voting. Even with Lance being force-fed opportunities this summer, though, it was clear that the 2021 number 3 overall pick had no chance to replace Prescott long-term, which is, in part, why the Cowboys had no choice but to cave on the Prescott deal. Not only did Lance not present a credible threat to Prescott, in the end, he did not even displace number 2 quarterback Cooper Rush, who is still the Cowboys' backup. But the Cowboys could have an opportunity to avoid taking a complete bath on the Lance. Dallas could take advantage of the potentially desperate Dolphins in making a Lance deal. Dolphins may need a Tua Tagovailoa replacement. That's because the Dolphins, despite having depth and talent at just about every offensive position, could be under pressure to take a major swing at a quarterback following Thursday night's injury to Tua Tagovailoa, who suffered his third concussion and might have to consider retirement. And on a short list of potential Tagovailoa replacements, Lance still probably has the most upside. He also has a link to Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel. As CBS Sports noted in an article titled, "Tua Tagovailoa Injury, 5 Emergency QB Options for Dolphins, Including Big-Name Trade Targets, the Cowboys are a natural match." The former number 3 overall pick has failed to earn the top backup job with the Dallas Cowboys in successive seasons, and he remains something of a total unknown as a passer. But McDaniel is very familiar with his game, serving as the San Francisco 49ers run game coordinator in 2021, the year Kyle Shanahan and company moved up to draft Lance. If nothing else, McDaniel might be able to redraw parts of the offense to work in favor of Lance's rushing ability, and the youngster isn't likely to cost a lot via trade. Cowboys have little need for Trey Lance. As it stands, the Cowboys have little left to do with Lance but to keep him on the roster until the remaining $5.3 million on his contract dries up. The Cowboys, to no one's surprise, did not pick up his fifth-year options when they had the chance last winter, and he has never played a down for Dallas in the regular season. Lance has 4 games of starting experience under his belt, and has gone 2-2 in those games. His best game came in Week 16 of the 2021 season, when he threw for 249 yards with 2 touchdowns and an interception in a win over Houston. He started the first 2 games of the 2022 season for the 49ers, but was injured in his second outing and has not gotten back on the field consistently since. Cowboys rookie gets brutally honest about poor debut versus Browns star. Heading into training camp ahead of the 2024 season, Cowboys rookie tackle Tyler Guyton was an iffy proposition. There was no doubt that he had the talent that made him worthy of being the first-round pick of the Cowboys, number 29 overall, but there were plenty of questions as to whether he was ready to take on a full-time role replacing a likely Hall of Famer in Tyron Smith. But Guyton was so impressive during the preseason that he earned the job, and earned the confidence of the coaching staff in the process. Then came Week 1, in which all that Guyton had to do was handle the best pass rusher in the league, Cleveland's Myles Garrett. And Guyton, by his own admission, was every bit the rookie in that situation. Guyton gave up a sack to Garrett, was called for a penalty and warranted a grade of 42.0 from Pro Football Focus, which ranked 62nd out of 64 tackles who played significant snaps last week. Guyton had a blunt assessment of how he did, poorly, he said via the Dallas Morning News. The situation is against a good player, Myles Garrett, like that on the road, couldn't even hear the calls. The odds were against me. I don't think it was terrible. I felt like I could have been a lot better. Cowboys tab trade suitor Jake Ferguson replacement. The Cowboys are so far removed from overreacting to the knee injury suffered by tight end Jake Ferguson at this point that they're not even ruling him out for Week 2's home opener against the Saints on Sunday. That would be unusual for a player who suffered a sprain to the MCL in his knee, as well as a bone bruise, but then, Ferguson himself said he could have played through Week 1 if the Cowboys had not already been blowing out the Browns. Ferguson injured the knee late in the third quarter when he landed awkwardly on a catch and was tackled by Jordan Hicks of the Browns. He practiced on Tuesday, though he did so on the side with the team's training staff. He could get back on the field without missing time, and coach Mike McCarthy said he was aiming for exactly that. Yes. Good news, McCarthy said after MRIs revealed limited damage in the knee. He'll be working with the return-to-play group Wednesday, so we'll see how that goes. He's very optimistic, just as you think he would be. Cowboys deep at tight end. Still, tight end is a position that is fairly flush around the NFL, and if the Cowboys had some questions about Ferguson's return, they could pretty easily pluck one off another roster with a low-cost trade. That notion comes from Bleacher Report, in an article titled, 2024 NFL Trade Block Big Board Entering Week 2. In it, analyst Christopher Knox noted that Raiders third-stringer Harrison Bryant is a reliable NFL veteran. He was an effective backup for 4 years in Cleveland, who could give the Cowboys short-term relief if Ferguson can't go and a long-term option even when he returns. He wrote, "The Cowboys are dealing with their own tight end injury, as Jake Ferguson suffered a bone bruise and a minor MCL sprain, according to ESPN's Todd Archer. Dallas has 2023 second-round pick Luke Schoonmaker at tight end, though the Michigan product barely saw the field as a rookie and only played 19 offensive snaps in Week 1. Adding Bryant could help give the Cowboys a bit more insurance at a critical position.